First, we have a naive attack with zero chance of success. Imagine a person or company complaining and saying, I have generated a random file in the past, completely random ones and zeros. It is my work. I own it. But someone stole it from me and shared it in the distributed data storage. I order you to remove it immediately. Well, that's utterly ridiculous. We all know it is impossible. Statistically, if the guy really generated a random noise, a random ones and zeros as he claims, then in 1 or 2 dozen bits he would have gone into collision. His counters would reach 0 or he would have encountered a null card. There is simply zero chance anybody can generate a file which is over 20 bytes long and it is still a valid fragment. It's impossible, so he is lying. He must have known the rules of the game and must have generated the file according to them. Since every bit in that fragment is a reflection of the initial hash, and the initial hash is calculated from the license agreement, stating that the file is free and redistributable, then he has no copyright to that file. The second thing they can pull on us is a blind frontal attack, and you can be absolutely sure someone will try it. The attack goes like this. The law enforcement or agency protecting copyright laws for some client will try to claim that Alice from Israel, Bob from Bulgaria, Richard from Poland, and George from Tunis are all together illegally sharing the Simpsons movie. Their reasoning will be straightforward. They will point the finger at Richard and say that while using the wacky rules of our peer-to-peer network, he shares a red fragment which, when combined with George's green fragment, Bob's blue fragment, and Alice's alpha fragment, produces copyrighted content. And then they will demand Richard to stop sharing the red fragment immediately. Of course, that's silly, because Richard has done nothing wrong. First of all, he does not have to talk to the police at all. It is up to them to prove their accusation beyond any doubt. But if he wants to talk, he can tell them that the red fragment he shared is a part of a video of his cat climbing a tree. Or better yet, that it is an innocent file with a declaration of freedom of speech and he has a right to share such information under the Freedom of Expression and Free Speech Act. Since a fragment is anonymous, fully redistributable and on its own, it can mean anything. Proving the person sharing it did anything wrong is nearly impossible. Then there is a third type of legal attack, which is somehow more promising than the previous two. It is an attack against a fragment of a single color, and it is called Steganographic Attack. I have never seen Steganographic Attack succeed in a court, but let's suppose it will. Honestly, this kind of attack can be pulled against any file format on this planet, and it goes like this. Imagine that somebody generated pseudo-random noise according to the rules of the game, for example the rules of the red dimension, and he did it in a very clever way that every fifth bit of such fragment belongs to a copyrighted work. That means somebody would generate a fragment from scratch not by splitting a meaningful file using the fission procedure and logic of our binary casino, but deliberately imprinting the copyrighted work and putting it in a compressed bit stream of a red fragment as every fifth bit. Such user needs to be careful to not break the red dimension's rules. Next, he throws such a fragment into a folder and uses it in a regular file splitting procedure. Finally, he shares it, he lets it live in the network for a while, and then he complains and demands immediate removal of the fragment. Okay, we have to ask ourselves, what is the yield of such behavior? Isn't it better to behave according to the rules of our distributed data storage, thus storing more data in it, rather than trying to steganographically attack one color? Of course it is. So who would do such a thing? The answer is obvious. It's a provocator, most likely a movie producer or lawyer protecting his rights and trying to get some attention. But there is a simple and easy solution to this. Movie producers and DMCA protecting agencies typically run a blacklist or several blacklists containing hashes of pirated files. And if they can back up their claims and prove the pirated stuff is placed just in one fragment, then we will stop sharing such a fragment in the network. Or I should rather say the application will detect it in a blacklist and stop sharing it. Have you noticed what is happening? We are basically turning the copyright law against the content producers. Pirates and other privacy-concerned users are rewarded for the correct behavior in the network. They're anonymous and they are being protected by the Constitution. On the other hand, the movie producers are the only entities who will have an incentive to steganographically attack files and upload them to the data storage. And even then, nobody will care. Honestly, a steganographic attack is not a major concern. It is complex, ineffective, and very weak from a legal standpoint. Most importantly, there is a much better type of attack that is optimal and which could theoretically bring down the entire network if we are not prepared for it. It is the CCR attack, and we will discuss it in the next chapter.